Hello, guten Tag, and welcome to the latest episode of my vlog. I'm here in Berlin, but actually Babelsberg. It is a suburb of Berlin, about 30 minutes to the southwest of the center of the city for some work, and I had some time yesterday to do some sightseeing before all the hard work began. I'm actually here in my hotel room, and hey, I'm rather pleased that they've put me up in somewhere quite nice, but let me show you what I got up to yesterday. Berlin is in fact a rather large city with 3.6 million people, so I do recommend you taking your time and not rushing through it in one afternoon like I did. But let's start here at Alexanderplatz. For those of you who have watched the Jason Bourne films, you remember this is where he literally kidnapped Nikki and took her hostage and questioned her. The Germans are very fond of such traditional markets, and they pop up in major squares whenever you give them an excuse to do so. So I was here at the beginning of October, and as you figured out, yes, it's time for Oktoberfest. Time to celebrate great German food and great German beer and have a party! Completed in 1969, the Berlin Fernsehturm, or TV Tower, was a symbol of East German modernity and progress. But let's not get hung up about the communist era. There are buildings such as the Rotes Rathaus or the Red City Hall, which was completed way back in 1869, and Berlin is in fact a lovely city full of such historical old buildings. And this is why I like Berlin so much. It has a unique blend of historical, communist era, and very modern architecture, which gives Berlin a truly unique character. A short walk from Alexanderplatz and the TV Tower is the St. Patrick and St. Marian Church. Now this church actually dates all the way back to the 13th century, but it was heavily damaged in World War II and had to be rebuilt by the East German government in the 50s. However, there are still many parts of the original church still standing today. The River Spree runs through the center of Berlin. Many tourists like to take a pleasure cruise down the River Spree on these boats and enjoy the sights of Berlin from the comfort of a boat. It sure beats walking around. On the banks of the River Spree is the Altes Museum, otherwise known as the Old Museum. Now for those of you culture vouchers out there, Berlin has so many museums and art galleries, you need a few days to do them all in Berlin. On the other side of the Altes Museum, you can get a great view of the Berliner Dom, as well as see the other facade of the Altes Museum. Now, this garden is in fact called the Lost Garden. In English, the translation is the Pleasure Gardens. Now, if you were to climb up to the top of the Humboldt box, which is a building just across the road from the Lost Garden, you can get a really good view of the Berliner Dom and the Altes Museum. Not far away is the Nikolai Church, one of the oldest churches in all of Berlin, dating back to the 13th century. Like many churches in Germany, however, it has been rebuilt after World War II. I took a bus down Unter den Linden, one of the main thoroughfares in Berlin. Berlin is a rather large city, but fortunately there are two bus routes specifically designed to take tourists around the main tourist attractions, number 100 and 200. I went next to the Memorial to the Murdered Jews. This is located very close to Brandenburg Gate. After the reunification of Germany, many wanted a lasting memorial in the capital, in Berlin, to remember the many Jews who were killed under the Third Reich in Hitler's Germany. Many designs were considered, and finally this one was chosen. The building took many years and was completed in 2004 December. As you walk towards the middle of the memorial, the pillars beside you get higher and higher, and eventually they are so high above you, you can't really see anything beyond them. All you can see is the narrow passage ahead of you. Now this was meant to give you an impression of what it was like for the Jews during Hitler's Germany. I must say, I was so irritated by the stupid, idiotic, ignorant young people who were playing in the Jewish Memorial Park. This is wholly inappropriate, and there should be guards telling off these idiots. The Brandenburg Gate is another impressive sight not to be missed when visiting Berlin. The Berlin Wall used to stand right in front of the gate, so it was impossible to walk from one side of the gate to the other because that was when Berlin was a divided city. Life was a lot harder for those trapped in East Germany, and oh look, there is a Trabi. That is an East German car which has almost come to become a symbol of the huge disparity between the East and the West. After reunification in 1990, the capital of Germany was re-established back in Berlin, as it was before Germany was partitioned into East and West Germany. A new glass roof was added to the Reichstag as a symbol of transparency in politics in the new Germany. The Berlin Wall used to run right through the middle of Potsdamer Platz. This meant that the wall was right in the middle of this busy junction today, and it was a no man's land with high fences on both sides. Today, it is a bustling neighborhood with offices, skyscrapers, restaurants and shopping centers. But parts of the Berlin Wall are still here today, and you can literally reach out and touch a bit of history here in Potsdamer Platz. There are various exhibitions detailing the history of the Berlin Wall here, and if you are interested in German history, Potsdamer Platz is definitely a very interesting place for you to visit because the contrast between what it was like in the communist era and what it is like today is really very stark indeed. Okay, if all this talk about the communist era and the Berlin Wall is getting a bit depressing, then head on over to Gendarmen Market, which is a very impressive square where you have 3 beautiful buildings. There's the French church, the German church, and the concert house. And shortly after I made this video, my phone died on me because the battery was totally drained. Luckily, I managed to find a nice cafe where I could have a cup of coffee and charge my phone up again so I could continue. No visit to Berlin is complete without going to Checkpoint Charlie. Now, this was one of the main crossing points between communist-held East Berlin and the democratic West Berlin. In 1961, there was a very tense standoff between American and Soviet tanks right here at Checkpoint Charlie. It was such a very tense situation, one of those moments when the world was so close to World War III erupting. But as you can see, today this place is mostly full of tourist souvenir shops along with the KFC and McDonald's right there, so it's very clear who won the Cold War. Berlin is such a great city. Whether you're after culture, history, shopping, or nightlife, Berlin has it all, and you can easily spend a few days here and not run out of things to do. So, thank you so much for watching. See you real soon. Vielen Dank.